You must be Mr. Walker.
That's me.
I'm John Clanchar.
Hi, how you doing?
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You work for the government, so I can record you. You have no two-party consent. You know, you're working for an official duty for Southmont Borough Boulevard, right? Or Southmont right now, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so obviously you're here for some of my complaints, correct? Or my concerns, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you find out?
Well, I found out that there's a permit that was issued for the fence, and it stands. I mean, it was issued in 2017, so the fence is okay.
Well, what about the variance that I was given no due process for by Rich Wargo?
I have nothing. I have nothing about a variance.
There is. If you read the permit okay, and I'll pull it. Do you have the permit by chance?
But there's a 30-day appeal process once something's issued, and that was in 2017.
I understand, but still, there was no due process because there was no. Listen, Mark. I plan to. Okay. What'd you find?
Well, I found that he has a fence and he has some storage sheds, and he went down to the borough office at the time they got the storage shed, and Wargo told him he didn't need a permit. And he had to live off of what the manager of the borough said to him.
Okay.
So,
retaining wall?
the retaining wall has really nothing to do with that. It's holding up the shed.
But do you need a permit for it?
Not if it's part of the shed deal.
What about pavers?
I have nothing to do with that.
No. So I can pave anything I want. I can. If
you can pave whatever you want to on your lot. You just have to watch what you do with your stormwater.
Okay.
Okay.
That pipe.
So if you have stormwater that's discharging off your property.
That pipe there. Okay. That pipe that I sent you the picture of.
Yes.
Okay. That's not his property. That's right away. That it's being dumped into.
Okay.
That's not legal.
Well, you can discharge. Your water runs downhill.
I understand, onto your property.
As long as it's not discharging in a detrimental manner, and there's no erosion at the end of that pipe at all. Okay, so I can't see that it's causing a detrimental issue. And you know, with respect to the alley, if somebody uses the alley and they run over the edge of the pipe, well, then that's something that happens to that pipe because it's in an alley.
So let me ask you, so you'll afford me the same leeway as you'll afford him. So if I decide to do some work without a permit, it doesn't matter, correct? Because he does work without a permit all the time.
I'm not sure. What did he do without a permit?
We'll go back to the permits, okay, at some point. If you want to have a meeting, we will, because I have all his permits pulled, okay?
What specifically doesn't he have a permit for?
I can't speak of that right now because I don't know specifically, but there are additions to that house that have not been permitted.
Okay.
Okay. There are additions. There's a back room on there there was no permit for. There's a deck there was no permit for. Okay, there was, from what I understand, the second floor addition there was no permit for. Okay, now when I pulled 103 Delia Street,
how long ago we talking?
Years. Okay, years.
Okay, well,
I understand it's a tax assessor's point at this situation. Okay, right? Because these people, okay, from dating back in the 60s, anytime they had anything done, permits. Anytime we've had anything done, permits. Anytime she has anything done, permits. Okay. In fact, I'll tell you a little interesting tidbit of information. Okay. If you look at the permits for 103 Delia Street, okay, you look at the permits for them. These lots over here require a 40-foot setback. Okay, because they're 150 feet. Okay. I'm 100, so I require a 30-foot setback. Okay. You're looking like you don't know what I'm talking. You're looking like this. Okay. You understand, but you might not be aware. Okay, that porch, okay, on the porch they added to that house, and I'm not exactly. Again, forgive me for not knowing the exact time. Okay, it's 38.5 feet from the street. There was a hearing and a variance for that. Okay, so that was done correctly. Like I said, when Rich came up and said, "Oh yeah, you can put that fence there." Okay, first of all, it's 3 feet into the alley to begin with, okay? My garage is 5 feet from my property line, okay? And then that alley's 16 feet wide. Do you want me to prove that to you? I can prove that to you right now, okay? My garage is 5 feet from my property line because that's when that garage was built in 1955, that was the law, okay? And then this alley 16 feet wide, okay? There should be 23 feet between my fence between my garage and that alley and that fence. There should be 21 feet. 16 plus 5 is 21. There's only 18 feet. Okay.
Okay. I mean, So you think that the fence is encroaching into the alley?
It has, yes, it has been since it was built, okay? There's never been a proper survey done. He's never had it surveyed, okay? You understand what I'm saying?
But the fence is there.
It can come down too. It can just, so are those shrubs. Those shrubs are in that alley too.
Your shed could come down. It's probably going to come down on its own.
Well, that's fine, I know.
But it's a property maintenance problem.
You know? My shed?
Yeah, look at the condition of it.
There's nothing wrong with it. Because you know something? I'm going to tell you something too. That car actually has an antique plate on it.
It has a classic plate on it.
No, it has an antique plate on it. It's been changed. Okay, yeah, yes, it has been revised. Okay, and as far as I'm concerned, that is the most beautiful Corvette I've ever seen. I like a patina finish. Okay, she called it an eyesore. He called it an eyesore.
I think it is an eyesore too.
Well,
it's in the eye of the beholder.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right.
Have you gotten any notices?
Oh yeah, I have.
For what?
What's that?
What notices have you got?
She has written to complain. Let me finish.
Have you got?
And I've also had a it's been ticketed. I've had a warning to move it. Okay. I have been sanctioned. Okay, but it's legally parked.
Okay.
Okay.
That's between you and the police department.
I know.
They're giving you warnings.
Well, again, it's legally parked now. It has an antique plate on it, so it's not required to be inspected. So.
That's true.
And I can park a trailer on the street for 72 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
By definition, parking a trailer is parking it, okay, or parking anything. So if I move it, I've moved it. And it's that resets the clock.
You and the police
well, I believe me, Mark, I know, okay, but listen, okay, listen. He doesn't know who he's fucking with, okay? I'll say it out loud. He doesn't know who he's fucking with, okay? I've been literally picked on by the government my entire life.
Well,
and I'm done.
Let's go over here and look at the junk you have over here. All the stuff that's laying down behind the second building down there. The last time I was here, I walked back to the point where this thing used to sit. Okay? Where the square was where the car used to sit. And I stopped right there because all there was barrel and other junk.
Borough property.
This thing was sitting back in there.
Yeah, it's borough property.
All that stuff that's laying along your shed.
Yeah, that's borough property.
And what? So anybody can just take anything and throw it on a borough roll?
Well, I mean, and then
you got a pile of tires over.
You know why I did that? You know why I did?
A shed that's listing and the roof's ready to fall in. You probably can't even open the door anymore because it's so crooked.
I don't have to prove anything to you, but I can open that door. Number one. Number two. Okay, so, you know what? Do it. Hey, Mark, do what you got to do to me, okay?
I haven't sent you any notice.
I know you haven't.
Other than your grass notice that I sent you.
I know, Mark. Listen. I appreciate that, okay? But let me say this. I did that for a reason. That stuff, okay, used to be sitting right beside my garage, not bothering anybody for years, okay? You want to see the court order where it says that I was held in contempt of court for parking something on my land that I own, okay? This is what this is about, okay? Do you know what adverse possession is? You know what it means?
I'm not an attorney.
Okay, but the general gist of it is, okay, is when you took this job, okay, and for all intents and purposes, until you actually found out, you probably thought this was my driveway and that it was part of this property, correct?
I looked on the GIS mapping and I saw that there was an alley there.
Okay, I understand you did that, but most people, anybody I've spoken to, any common person, anybody with any kind of common sense in the world, okay, would go, that's his driveway. Okay? Now, but
I didn't say that.
I know you didn't, okay? What I'm talking about is notorious use, okay? My parents bought this place in 1977, okay? And since 1977, I've got letters from Fred Poland when my dad used to park a truck back here, okay? I have been subject to sanctions by the government over this property that I don't own, okay? I have been told about it, okay? So he decided years ago, here's the problem, okay? Here's what the problem lies from, okay? He wants to take triaxles back in there or something, okay? I don't know if you know this or not, I drive a truck for a living, okay? I know if I've gotten triaxles stuck, okay?
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to take them
It's
down.
$900 out of the driver's pocket, okay, to get it out, okay? Number one. Number two, okay, you start driving a triax down there, I don't want my foundation pushed in, okay? Now, this is true, okay? I have parked tractors right here, out here, never further back, ever, because it's soft back there. You can't take anything heavy back there, number one. Number two, okay, the small row of shrubs back there, okay? He wanted somebody to come in with a tracked skid steer on mine, because he don't want to tear up his grass, okay? I ride a Harley Davidson. I ride right down through there and turn around and back into the thing. Okay, if you ride a Harley, if you ride a bike, you would know that you don't want something, you know. So I said no, just because I'm trying to be practical. It wasn't that I was trying to be an asshole. I was trying to protect myself. Okay. Also, you take 23 tons of gravel in a dump truck and you pick it up on that dirt. You know where the dump truck's gonna go? It's gonna go whoop right onto the side of my garage. Okay, and then hey, I realize there's insurance.
Did the skid steer come in?
No, but I don't.
Did the triaxle come in?
I have prevented that from happening up until now. Okay, but now that he has this court order and contempt of court order hearing on my father, he can do it. Okay.
And if he has, if something happens with respect to that, that's why everybody has repercussions that would happen. If he gets it stuck, he's going to have to pay the bill to get it out. If it comes over and falls over on your building,
let me say something. Okay, my mom's. Let me say something. My mom's blind. Okay. My foundation gets busted, okay, right? Or anything happens, okay, and what do I have to think about this. I would have to get out cash money, to go and stay in a hotel room that I don't have, okay? So where am I going to stay when my house gets destroyed by him doing his work?
If something like that would occur, that's why everybody has attorneys and everybody has insurance.
I understand attorneys and insurance, but that takes days or weeks.
That's what you're doing.
You know, I'm not trying to prevent anything.
You're trying to prevent your foundation from being destroyed.
Exactly, which wouldn't you if you were?
That's what you're trying to prevent.
If you were in,
so far, it sounds like you've been successful with respect to that.
Okay, well, you know, that and the same thing, and like I said, the reason for this stuff, as soon as it goes back to the way it was, and he goes to the court and says, "Look, I lied. It's his driveway."
Well, you shouldn't have stuff like that.
Let me finish. It leaves. It goes back. Okay.
Where's it going back to?
I'll get rid of it. It'll go where it'll go. It won't be in public view. But as of right now, it used to be stored where nobody could see it, where it never bothered anybody for years, and now it's the only place I have to store it. So it's where it's going to go. If you got to do what you got to do to me, do what you got to do to me. You know what I mean? And I mean, I get it. You know, I mean, I didn't want World War III up here. I grew up with his kids. I didn't want this. I really didn't, but he brought it to me. So
well, I mean, I have to address what you put in your email here.
Yeah, I know.
And basically, I looked at the permit for the fence, and it's there, and it stands. It was done in 4/25/17, and that's 5 years ago, 2 or 4 years ago. So I mean, the other things with respect to the storage sheds in here. He's talked to the borough back in the day when he got him in, and he was told he didn't need a permit. Now, if somebody asked me the same question today, they would have to have a permit. But if somebody relies on a government official that tells them something, then that goes.
Of course, right. But you are aware that the government official can be wrong. I mean, you guys.
Wrong. There's an appeal process for anything that's done, and when it comes to zoning and building permits, it's a 30-day period. And if nobody takes objection to it within 30 days, then it stands the way it is.
Okay, again, but you understand, again, due process. There was when there's a variance granted, the process. You got to advertise. Sure. You got to advertise down there. You got to advertise on the borough office. You got to advertise in the paper. Okay, for a public hearing. That never happened.
Then you should find legal advice as to what you can do.
I plan on doing that. Okay, I wasn't. I think it's the 8th Amendment. This due process. Okay, I wasn't afforded due process of law, so. I mean, I get it.
That's quite possible, but I can't stand here and say, I know. Tell him to move his fence.
Mark, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not asking you to do that. You won't have to. So. That won't even be in your scope of anything. But it will be. If I have to comply, everybody's going to comply. And I get it. Like I said, do what you got to do to me. If you have to.
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't tell me that your shed's in primo condition.
It's not.
Okay. I mean, and all the stuff that's laying beside your garage back there, that's a bunch of discarded items and information that's pretty much just junk, and it violates the property maintenance code of the borough.
Technically, I mean, you call it junk, but I call it supplies.
It's discarded items, and it's got weeds and grass growing up all over the place through it. And that's another property maintenance.
That's one of the we could argue interpretation on that all day. I mean, but. I appreciate your time. I'm not
going to argue with you.
I know, I'm not going to argue with you either. I mean, it is what it is, So, I've learned that, trying to argue with you guys, anybody in the government, I get nowhere.
You sent to the borough, and I'm going to address the items with respect to this.
I know. I'll be there.
I met with Mr. Gaborik here.
I'll be there on Monday. I'll see you. So, apologize 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.